Hi, I'm Mich Atagana and welcome to On the Road. Today we are at the Bound with Bond to talk to Zach George about U-Start. Thank you for joining us, Zach. Welcome to On the Road.
Thank you.
So we want to just chat to you a little bit about U-Start today and the work you guys are doing with entrepreneurs in Africa, and also moving from Wall Street to Africa and looking at startups. Just give me a little bit of a background about U-Start and what you guys do.
Sure. U-Start started off about 2 years ago as an organization where we would make a concerted effort to put local startups and small businesses in emerging markets in Africa, Latin America, and the sort of distressed economies of Europe directly in touch with international investors, be it venture capitalists, private family offices, angel investors that are looking to specifically make investments into emerging markets. Good ideas can be found anywhere in the world. The problem, though, is there is a disconnect between the pools of capital that tend to be centered in Europe and North America and an outflow of ideas that are all over the world. And it's very hard for international investors in developed markets to access these amazing entrepreneurs and passionate ideas without having to fly into conferences in Lagos or Rio or Nairobi or Johannesburg once a year. So U-Start changes the way that works, where we have professionals such as myself who have experience, in my case, from Wall Street, investment banking, mergers and acquisitions, etc., that have now moved to a clear emerging market like South Africa, where I work with organizations like the Bandwidth Barn, Endeavor, Silicon Cape, and I know what the best startups to invest in are. We then due diligence them, we talk to their partners, their suppliers, and find local investing networks like the Angel Hubs, the Inventions of the world, the Hustle Partner Ventures of the world, to look at possibly co-investing and look at co-investment opportunities for our network of international investors. We look at three conditions when looking to introduce businesses to our network of international investors. The most important thing to start off with is feasibility. So you have an idea that makes sense and can generate some sort of revenue and potentially break even in a year or 2 years or whatever your time frame may be. Second, it's once an idea is proven to be feasible, is it sustainable? Can it make revenue, or does it have a revenue model that's recurring? So it's not a once-off idea that has great traction for 6 months or a year, and then a year from now completely washes away because a new ideas come about. So it's sustainable. And more importantly, at the end, is there a potential to scale outside of its local geographies? Africa is the future for technology, not just from locally grown ideas, but also from the perspective of corporations and companies in Europe and North America moving into Africa to open up research centers, to open up branches, to look at Africa as a market for technology innovation. One of the ways, or one of the quickest ways for entrepreneurs and startups in Africa to get or to be on that sort of international investing radar is to work with local support systems like the Bandwidth Barn, like Silicon Cape, like Endeavor, that will very quickly fast track their possibility of being investment ready. It's very important for entrepreneurs to be part of affiliations, apply to business plan competitions, and socialize their ideas and not just work in silos.
Now, I hear you guys have a fund, or you're raising a fund. Do you want to just quickly tell us a little bit about it?
The fund is a new development where we're in the midst of raising a sizable amount of money, if things go well, anywhere between 25 to 30 million euros, which we will specifically deploy into both high-risk seed investments early stage venture capital type investments, and reserve a small part of it for follow-on private equity type investments, focused on Africa, Latin America, and Southern, Central, and Eastern Europe. And the way this would work is we would deploy an average of about 40 to 50,000 euros per startup that we invest in. In your high-risk seed investments, you'd have the bulk of the fund invested in what we would call early stage venture capital type sizes, which is typically around the 500,000 euro mark. And then of course the follow-on Series A, Series B investments would be much higher tickets. The sectors that we tend to like I mentioned earlier, are ideas that tend to be sustainable and scalable internationally. So the ideas that tend to make the most investing sense tend to be in the ICT sector, information, communications, digital media, e-commerce. E-commerce is amazing because you can look at any product irrespective of sector, and as long as you can commercialize it online or through mobile technology, there's a market for that globally. Biotech, healthcare, impact investing, any sort of anything digital or mobile is an extremely hot sector to invest in.
Do you think that Africa is producing good enough entrepreneurs?
I think that it's almost a double-edged sword, because entrepreneurship, I believe, is not something that you just decide one morning to do. It's something that you have to prepare yourself for. It has to be in your DNA, it has to be in your blood. You must want to be an entrepreneur and not be an entrepreneur just because your mate next door is an entrepreneur. And so the short answer to it is Africa produces a lot of entrepreneurs. Whether or not those entrepreneurs are pursuing the entrepreneurial path because they can't make it in the job market or the corporate market, that's where you need to question them. To implement a good idea, you have to have backing. And for backing, you need mentorship, you need advice, and you need early stage capital. There is no shortage of Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or your Larry Ellisons in South Africa. I've met them personally. But they don't have that capital, and that's what Africa needs. Africa needs the local VCs, the local angel investors to wake up and change their risk appetite from focusing on mature, stable businesses to more risky businesses, and change their investing model. And when that happens, you have international investors such as ourselves that will readily come on board and co-invest. And I think Africa has tremendous potential in that.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That has been Zach from U-Start talking to us about the need for a middleman between entrepreneurs and investors. Please join us again for On the Road.